So, okay, go ahead and land the bar. I think the key is to make sure that you touch in the proper spot. Typically for a raw lifter, that'd be kind of like about bottom of sternum. Because if you touch too low, your body's going to overcompensate and it's going to throw it way back. And if you touch too high, it's like you're already really close to your face, so any drifting, you're over it. So the key is you want to touch about bottom of sternum, and the key is you want to drive through your heels when you leg drive. And the bar should drift back a little, but it should be more of a controlled drift. And then when you start the press, I would say the other key is you want to start the press with your lats, and it should be all contract your lats as hard as you can to get the bar moving. And that should help from keeping you dumping the bar over your face with a leg drive. This is kind of borrowed from how you pick your squat stance too. As you stand on something off the ground and you jump onto the floor and you'll naturally land. I land with my feet pretty close together. I'm a conventional deadlifter. If sumo is natural for you, your body will want to land further. You can kind of do the same thing with jumping up onto something. If you're going to jump high and your body wants to take a wide stance, you're sumo. If you're going to jump high and you want narrow, then you should be a conventional stance. So that's how you tell.
For a raw conventional deadlift, you kind of want your feet about shoulder width apart, however you normally set up your feet. You want the bar to cut your foot in half. When you set up under the bar, you want it directly over the middle of your foot. Go take a big breath, get your air, come down, grab the bar, set your grip, incline your shins to the bar, squeeze into the proper position, get your lower back arched, and pull. It can, if you find that you're able to get into a good setup position. Sumo, when you're wearing a squat suit or a deadlift suit that's sumo, you're going to get a lot more out of it. Conventional suits don't give you all that much carryover. If you can get the sumo to work and it works for you and you're picking up big weights, go for it. If you're more comfortable conventional, as am I, figure out how to work it. There's many different styles, whether you just kind of squeeze yourself onto the bar or roll it in, whatever. It's really about whether you can get your chest up into a good pulling position in gear.
Bill covered the setup. I think the most important part is you don't want your butt to come up and your hips to get behind you. I think that's the biggest reason why most people miss the lift. So when you set up and you start to pull, you want to come up. Most people, when they miss, they'll end up with their butt out back here, and your shoulders get out in front of the bar, and you just have horrible leverage, and you get right up in here, and it's pretty much impossible to lock out from right there. So what I typically think about is, I want to pull back, because I want to get my hips kind of under me. So I want to pull back, keep my hips going forward the whole time. Squeeze your glutes from the very beginning of the deadlift to keep your hips basically close to the bar, because when your hips get behind, you won't lock out. What I find is if you wait until you feel like you need to deload, it's too late. And so a lot of the research Louis did is after 3 weeks, you're not going to get faster or stronger. So we deload every 4th week, and then obviously before a meet, but as a rule, every 4th week. I think it's pretty easy to buy your own bands, and you can take those in with you. I used to do that when I trained at a commercial gym. I also made boards where the boards velcroed together. So I had like a big stack, and I could do anywhere from 1 board through 5 board because they velcroed together. That's another good option. Chains are a pain in the butt because you'll go through gym bags every 2 weeks like I did for a while until I got smart and bought bands. But definitely buy your own set of bands, best way to go. The two probably biggest ab movements we do are spud abs with a spud ab strap. Basically just put your forearms in it, pull down. The other big one that we did a lot, especially when we were at a commercial gym, was the decline. abs, you can either hold weight on your chest, put it on top of your head or behind your head. Decline abs are a good way to go. The key there is when you do it, you don't want your range of motion to go to where you lay back and relax on the bench, because when you squat or when you deadlift, your abs are in constant tension the entire time of the lift. So you want to kind of mimic that with your range of motion when you do abs, so your abs are under constant tension for the whole set. And then for lower back, the back extension is probably a great way to train lower back and isolate it. You can use bands, weight and bands. You can see we use both because there's bands on it and there's weight on it on the floor. And you know, your staples like stiff-legged deadlifts, good mornings, and stuff like that are going to do lower back as well. But if you want to focus just on lower back, I'd say back extensions. I'd say yes, we put all of our beginners in using conjugate method. The biggest difference for beginners is they don't use as many variations. Like, we won't have a beginner do a max good morning because their technique on good mornings isn't very good, and they need to spend more time doing squatting and deadlifting because they need to have good technique at the competition lifts first, because that's most important. So their max effort lower movements will be much closer to competition lifts, and we also have them do more reps. Like, they'll do a 3-rep max, and basically their last set is where they can't get 3 reps. And then for bench, they would do much closer to a competition bench, and typically we do the same thing with reps. They're less likely to use bands, or if they do, they use a more moderate band tension. Usually beginners, it's a better idea to start out with chains. It's a little less harsh, it's less aggressive. So it does work. You need to be smart about it though, because there's not a point in doing, 12 different lower body variants when your squat form and deadlift form aren't up to par. So until you get that mastered, I would keep your rotation of exercises small. You can probably get away with 3 to 4 exercises and just rotate them over and over and make gains. When you find you can't PR anymore, then you can broaden your rotation of max effort movements. Pretty simple formula. Train the muscle, eat a lot, let the muscle rest. If you do those 3 things, your muscles will grow. I think a lot of people don't grow because they're not eating enough calories. People are like, oh, I'm eating 2,300 calories a day, why can't I gain weight? Yeah, you need 4,000 plus to gain weight usually. And also, you need to rest. You can't train the same muscle group 3 or 4 times a week and expect it to grow. So yeah, as long as you train, eat, and rest, you'll grow.